Compliance analysts are essential in helping organizations navigate complex regulatory environments and mitigate risk. Their role involves interpreting laws, monitoring internal controls, and ensuring adherence to industry standards. Interviewers seek candidates who demonstrate attention to detail, regulatory knowledge, and analytical thinking. Preparing thoughtful responses to common questions can give you a competitive edge. 1. What is the role of a compliance analyst? A compliance analyst ensures that an organization adheres to internal policies and external regulations. This includes conducting audits, reviewing processes, identifying risk areas, and recommending corrective actions. The analyst also monitors changes in laws and ensures updates are implemented promptly. By maintaining compliance, the analyst helps avoid legal penalties and reputational harm, while promoting ethical business practices and operational efficiency within the organization. 2. Why is compliance important in an organization? Compliance is vital to uphold legal and ethical standards, avoid penalties, and protect the company's reputation. It fosters transparency, builds stakeholder trust, and ensures that operations align with relevant laws and regulations. Compliance also mitigates risk by proactively identifying and addressing issues before they escalate. A strong compliance culture supports long-term sustainability and helps maintain the organization's license to operate within its industry. 3. What are some key regulations compliance analysts must be familiar with? Compliance analysts should know regulations relevant to their industry. Common examples include GDPR, HIPAA, SOX, PCI DSS, and AML laws. In financial services, familiarity with FINRA, SEC rules, and KYC requirements is crucial. Understanding these frameworks allows analysts to assess internal controls, ensure proper data handling, and manage regulatory risk. Analysts must also stay updated on emerging laws and regulatory changes that could affect company operations. 4. How do you stay updated with regulatory changes? I subscribe to industry newsletters, follow regulatory body updates, attend compliance webinars, and participate in professional networks. I also review legal publications and monitor news affecting compliance in my sector. Staying current ensures I can promptly assess how changes impact our policies and help implement necessary adjustments. Proactive awareness of regulatory trends enhances compliance strategies and supports ongoing risk mitigation efforts. 5. How do you conduct a compliance risk assessment? A compliance risk assessment involves identifying applicable regulations, evaluating current policies, and analyzing operational activities for potential gaps. I assess the likelihood and impact of each risk, prioritize based on severity, and recommend control measures. Collaboration with internal stakeholders ensures a complete understanding of business processes. The findings guide the creation of mitigation plans and help allocate resources for compliance efforts efficiently. 6. What steps do you take when identifying a compliance violation? First, I gather all relevant facts and documentation to confirm the violation. Then, I assess the severity and report findings to appropriate internal stakeholders. I work with relevant departments to determine root causes and implement corrective actions. I also ensure the incident is documented, and any necessary regulatory reporting is completed. Post-incident reviews help improve internal controls and prevent recurrence. 7. Describe your experience with compliance audits. I've conducted both internal and external compliance audits. My responsibilities included planning the audit, reviewing policies, interviewing stakeholders, and assessing records. I identify gaps, document findings, and create detailed reports with recommendations. I also follow up on remediation efforts to ensure corrective actions are effective. My approach is thorough and collaborative, aiming to support continuous improvement while ensuring regulatory alignment. 8. How do you ensure employees follow compliance policies? I promote compliance through training, accessible documentation, and regular communication. I also conduct assessments and spot checks to monitor adherence, as needed. I believe building a compliance-aware culture starts with education and clear expectations. Empowering employees with knowledge and tools helps them understand the importance of compliance in daily operations. 9. How do you handle conflicts between business goals and compliance requirements? I facilitate discussions between compliance and business teams to find practical solutions that meet regulatory obligations without hindering business goals. When conflicts arise, I clearly explain regulatory risks and offer alternative approaches. My goal is to ensure the organization stays compliant while supporting innovation and growth. Communication, compromise, and aligning on shared values help resolve such conflicts constructively. 10. What's your experience with Know Your Customer (KYC) processes? I've performed KYC checks as part of anti-money laundering (AML) protocols. My work involved verifying customer identities, analyzing risk profiles, and conducting enhanced due diligence for high-risk clients. I used both manual reviews and automated tools to ensure compliance with regulatory standards. Maintaining accurate, up-to-date customer records and adhering to onboarding protocols helped reduce fraud risk and ensured regulatory compliance. 11. How do you assess the effectiveness of a compliance program? I use key performance indicators, KPIs, audit results, employee feedback, and incident tracking to evaluate program effectiveness. Regular policy reviews, training completion rates, and external audit outcomes also provide insights. I assess whether the program detects and addresses risks promptly. Based on findings, I recommend updates to procedures or controls to ensure the compliance framework evolves with changing regulations and business needs. 12. Describe a time you had to investigate a compliance breach. In a previous role, I discovered inconsistent records during an audit. I initiated an investigation, reviewed documentation, and interviewed involved employees. I identified a process flaw that led to unintentional policy violations. I reported findings, coordinated with management to update procedures, and provided targeted training. The incident was resolved without penalties, and the improved controls prevented future issues. Timely response and documentation were key to managing the situation effectively. 13. What tools or systems have you used for compliance monitoring? I've used GRC platforms like RSA Archer and MetricStream, as well as case management tools and automated alert systems. I also work with Excel and SQL for data analysis and internal reporting. These tools help streamline risk assessments, track compliance tasks, and maintain audit trails. Automation enhances accuracy, while dashboards provide real-time compliance metrics that support informed decision-making. 14. How do you ensure compliance documentation is complete and accurate? I follow standardized documentation procedures and maintain version-controlled records. I cross-verify documents with policy updates and audit logs to ensure accuracy. I also schedule regular reviews to update documents based on regulatory changes. Attention to detail and consistency are critical, as documentation serves as a legal and operational reference. Well-maintained records support accountability and demonstrate the organization's compliance posture during audits. 15. What's your experience with data privacy regulations like GDPR or CCPA? I've supported GDPR and CCPA compliance by mapping data flows, reviewing consent mechanisms, and updating privacy notices. I worked with legal and IT teams to implement data subject access request, DSAR, procedures, and ensured data minimization practices. Training employees on handling personal data responsibly was also a key responsibility. Ensuring transparency and protecting user rights are central to compliance with these privacy laws. 16. How do you train employees on compliance topics? I design training that's engaging, role-specific, and aligned with company policies and regulations. I use a mix of e-learning, in-person sessions, and assessments to reinforce key concepts. I track participation and retention through quizzes and feedback. Refresher training is scheduled periodically or when regulatory changes occur. Ensuring employees understand the why behind compliance helps drive better adherence and reduces the risk of violations. 17. How do you prioritize compliance tasks under tight deadlines? I assess task urgency based on risk level, regulatory deadlines, and business impact. I use a task management system to track responsibilities and ensure timely completion. I communicate proactively with stakeholders to adjust priorities if needed. Delegating where appropriate and focusing on high-impact activities ensures critical compliance needs are met without compromising quality. Staying organized and anticipating deadlines helps manage workload efficiently. 18. What's your approach to working with regulators during inspections? I prepare by reviewing relevant records, ensuring documentation is up to date, and coordinating internal teams. During inspections, I provide requested information transparently and professionally. I maintain open communication, answer questions accurately, and take note of any feedback or observations. Afterward, I follow up on action items promptly. My approach is to foster a cooperative relationship while demonstrating our commitment to full compliance. 19. What challenges have you faced in compliance and how did you overcome them? One challenge was implementing a new regulatory requirement across multiple departments with resistance to change. I overcame it by engaging stakeholders early, explaining the regulation's importance, and simplifying the implementation steps. I provided training and created easy-to-follow guides. Incremental rollouts and regular check-ins helped ease the transition. Ultimately, clear communication and teamwork made the initiative successful and improved our compliance culture. 20. How do you handle confidential or sensitive compliance information? I follow strict access controls, encryption standards, and secure communication channels to protect sensitive data. I share information only on a need-to-know basis and ensure all handling complies with privacy laws and company policies. I also participate in security awareness training and report any suspicious activity. Maintaining confidentiality is crucial to preserving trust and upholding regulatory requirements. Landing a role as a compliance analyst requires a solid understanding of regulatory frameworks, risk management, and communication skills. These top 20 questions offer a glimpse into what employers seek and help you prepare thoughtful, tailored responses. Use them as a guide to highlight your experience, attention to detail, and ethical judgment. With preparation and confidence, you'll be well-positioned to excel in your next compliance interview and make a positive impact in the role.